Hello and welcome to the Dutchin channel. It's Monday the 1st of April 2024, 9:45 in the evening. I've just finished doing all the figures up. And we'll look back at the meetings today. Huntington, Fakenham, Wolverhampton, Kempton, Cork Fairyhouse, Plumpton and Chepstow. And the other meeting at Redcar, even though I'd worked it all out, was abandoned today. So we're going to look back at each meeting, and we'll start off with Cork. Now, Cork today was full of hunter chases, so there was only one race that would have interested us, and this was the 258. So we started really well here, had the winner to £100. Great start to the day. This must have been one of my worst days, not of all time, nowhere near all time, but a £369.95 loss isn't a great start to the month. I know someone said to me, but you've lost the last 2 days as well, so that's 3 days in a row. Forget the other two, that was last month. Otherwise I could say the 1,900 quid I won last month, I'll take that 369 off and go, well, I've still got a nice little profit there of 1,500 and something. But I don't want to do that. I want to start fresh today. We've got a minus 369.95 and we've gone into day one with a loss. And that's where we begin. So that was the only race at Cork. So that wasn't a bad start, 1 out of 1. And then we moved into Fairyhouse. That was the Grand National meeting today. So at Fairyhouse, we start with a winner. So you can see at the start here, we've done pretty well. So we got the winner there. That came through very late and won. I was impressed with that. And then race 2 there, which was the 240, Bottler Secret. You know, it wasn't unfancied by any means. It was my next selection down, but I couldn't have got it. So that would have now levelled it out on the day at 1-1. Then in the 315, what could have been, I could have said that about myself today. That come through, I could never have backed that. I mean, that was a 20.64 winner. I'm sure not many people had it. And there's one of my first selections that's come second of many, many selections today. Then a 4-horse race, I'm back to my usual there. Brewing Up a Storm come through, but they all had a chance at the last. Maxim was going really, really well. I got 20 to 1 on that, even though it went down to 11.2. And then it just fell at the last. And then, of course, Zarek the Brave couldn't get going because I had that finished second. And Brewing Up a Storm come through and won it. So that was a race I was definitely going to win until the top one there had fallen. Then in the 420, they all went for this St. Sam. Open odds on went out to 2.2. And I'd had all 4 above it. So I wasn't really worried which one won. But the lesser one was always going to be the last selection, Journey with me. And of course I had the first, second, third and fourth home. But once the favourite pulled up, that was it. Then we went into the Grand National itself. I had more than half the field. And I still couldn't get the first, second and third. So I put a line through that. Intense Raffles deserved it anyway. But my form was rubbish there. Then in the 540, the bottom selection comes through and wins it. Wasn't unfancied. Led all the way. No one really approached it. And of course, where did I finish? Second. Then in the last race, a bit of joy there, Redemption Day. It was for me a little bit. So that was the winner for us there at the last at Fairyhouse. So that got me a little bit back at the end of the day. Then we'll go into Kempton. First race was a no bet, and the second race. Then we Startswell here, Dubai Honour. This was the best bet for me of the day, but as I say, I don't do betting like that. So that was our top selection, went off odds on, but won cosily. Then in the 330, I mean, this goes off at fate. Never enough favourite, this Licio down the bottom here. I couldn't have had that at all, but I did have the second, so that was okay. Into the 405, I backed 6 against the field there, and of course that's what happens usual. The bottom one wins that you don't have the most money on, and that was the favourite. Drew some money, but not enough. Then in the 440, I get done in the closing stages. I thought Voltar was going to hold on, and Farazi Lane came through very, very late, outside of there at 16.41. That spoilt the day again. But then I sort of got my own back in the 5:15. Second selection here, Whitcomb Rockstar, comes through and wins at 36.83. So again, a bit like the last 2 days where I've lost. You know, if I thought it was just bad selections all the time, I would look at changing my system. But I would never change my system because it loses for 3 days. I know I don't lose for months upon end. So that got some money back in that race at a big price. And that was the last bet there at Kempton. And the way you got to look at it as well, even if you have about maybe 15 to 20 seconds that I had today in 8 meetings, you still think to yourself, well, I've lost 369, but if 4 of those ones that were second, and I've had them been beaten a neck, a head, half a length, 3/4 of a length, and been unlucky on the lot today, just 4 of those, even if I had 15, just 4 of those would have put me in a profit. So you do get these unlucky days, but some people that bet just don't understand that you have to have winners with losers. I mean, I do my figures over a 3-monthly period, even though when I'm on here, I just want to do it over the month so you can see how it works. But my figures are over a 3-month period. So I'm never going to throw anything away and go, that's it, that don't work after 1 or 2 or 3 days. It's just, that's how life treats you. I mean, you'll see people on here and they'll be messaging me that seem to have, every time they message, they only have winners. You know, maybe it's me, maybe everyone does win at gambling, but we know they don't. But people only tell you they're winners. That's why I like to do a program like this where I put everything on way before racing and then come and tell you about it in the evening and explain that you don't win every time you bet. I mean, someone messaged me today saying, a 3-horse race, you backed 2 in it and you still didn't get the winner. I'm not going to lie, it's not the first time I've done it. I've done that loads of times. 3 and 4 horse races, 4 horse race I backed 3 sometimes, still lose. But then if you reverse all of that and then put it into football terms, and you think Man City are the best team, right? You go and back Man City, but you've still got the draw and the other team against you. So that's exactly the same thing when Man City lose. It's like backing the other 2. It's exactly the same. As we move into the second race at, hold on a minute, I'll put Redcar up there. This was the meeting that got abandoned. I'm getting away with myself too much, just moaning and groaning. Right, let's go into Wolverhampton next. But as I say, I'm not here moaning about me or about losing. I'm just trying to explain that you have to forget your losses. If you can't take losing or you haven't got the money to back you up, Do not lose what you can't afford. That's all I try and tell people. Anyway, let's start Wolverhampton. The first winner here was Hill Station. I didn't have this either. It was the one underneath. And of course, I had the second, which was another unlucky one. Then the second race, the 215, was a no bet. And the 253 was also a no bet. Then in the 328, I didn't actually see this race. There was so much going on at the same time today. I mean, I betted in 43 races. We had New York State of Mind, this come through. It was the one just after I stopped betting on. And of course, my one white umbrella, where did that finish again? Second. This seconditis on a lot of it today. Then in the 403, Rocking Tree came through at about a furlong to go, and also this Senokian, which I had anyway, so I didn't mind which one was going to go past the post first, but Rocking Tree won that, so that got me a little bit of money back. Then in the 438, now take it in one hand and pass it back in the other, we had Port Noir. I couldn't have backed that at all. First, second and third, I didn't even have in an 8-horse race. So that was another one. You just scratch your head, can't work out why every other horse ran so badly. Then in the 513, Powdering come through and won, and again it's the one under where I stop. But the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth, I didn't even have any of them. And that's 6 out of 10. That's mostly getting on for losing a 3-horse race with the other two. So that was another bad result at Wolverhampton. And then in the 548, thank God I got out of trouble here. Jojo Rabbit came through and won at 7.04. And I had the second as well. So it sort of turned around a little bit at Wolverhampton, but not enough. Not enough. And don't forget, when you look at £369 that I've lost, you have to divide that by £50 stakes, which isn't everybody's stake. So when you look at that, you've lost maybe, if you're betting in pounds, you've lost £5 something, or £7 something. So it's not the end of the world. It just looks worse when you look at my number I put up there, because it looks so high. Right, now that was the Wolverhampton card. And now we're going into Huntingdon. And Huntingdon, we started there, the 12:35. That was our first race of the day. And again, we just scraped with our fourth selection, so it didn't really help. 15 quid back out of 50. Did have the second selection and was unlucky, really. Then in the 105, again, right down the bottom here, I couldn't have backed that. But as per usual, I had the second. So that was another unlucky race. Then in the 135, the fourth selection comes in. It's my bottom selection, again, that has the least money on it. But at least, when I say to you, always do that last bet. Whatever you've got left to make it up to £50, always put it on. So that one, again, was my money back for the race. So it didn't cost me anything. Then we went into the 210. I only didn't back 3 horses here. And one of those come through, and it's the one after you stop betting as usual. And of course, I had the second. Then moving into the 245, then everything started going for me at Huntingdon. Concetto won there, that was my top rated, and that was 7.16. Then in the 320, I had the first and second. I thought Logie Poet was going to win, and Chris Cool come and nabbed him on the line, but that was 8.33, so that was another win. Then in the 355, the favourite come through here, Reckless Eric. That was my top selection. So yet again, That was the third winner on the trot there. And then you're just getting into the groove. And then you got a no bet, and that's the last race on the card. So thank God that Huntingdon pulled me out. And then we move into Fakenham. And thank God you've only got to do one of these videos maybe every 6 months, maybe August bank holiday as well as like Easter bank holiday. Because you wouldn't have this amount of meetings otherwise. So into Fakenham, first race, Camerati, and of course it's my third selection with the least money on it. And I had the second there as well. Into the 157. You know, I had a good early start really, and then Glance at Me came through. That one top selection, 497. Then in the 232, Jirash. I'll be honest with you, I didn't really fancy this, but it was my top selection, and I thought, well, if it wins, it wins. It was odds on, and it was really, really disappointing. And my second selection did win, possibly on a different day. Jirash could have won, but I didn't really fancy it. Then in the 307, it happened again. We had an odds-on chance, but it just drifted out to 11 to 10. So I was able just to put the 238 on the second selection. It cleared the Bofu. And that one at 13.3 turned the short price favourite over. Then in the 342, you got it again. The fourth selection wins. It's the one with the least money on it. And how many have I said of those that I've had so far? Then the 416, which was the last race, was a no bet. So that was the end there. But a lot of these meetings I drew level. The worst one we haven't got to yet. And now we're going to Plumpton. And the first race there, the 225, I've started well again with Scarface, and you think, yeah, that's the first one in the meeting, let's keep that going. Then in the 3 o'clock, again, I hand it back. Rolo's Kingdom. It was pretty short enough, but I didn't fancy it at all. And what did I have? Yeah, you got it, the second again. Then in the next race there, the 335, I never fancied Hilltown, but it's the one under the last one we backed, and you got it. I had the second, which was unlucky in that as well. Then the 410 was a no bet. Then in the 445, a little bit of luck comes my way there, and Macari wins, and that went off at 809. That was my second selection in, and I had the second there as well. Then a 4-horse race. Might as well show you this one now. A 4-horse race. El Musha Akko wins. It's favourite, believe it or not, and I've got it to come last. And I managed to get bets on 3 of them that all made a profit. And of course, the other one wins. But then yesterday there was a 3-horse race, and I had a 10.86 winner that mostly no one would have got. So you stick to these form guides and you will win some, you will lose some. It's just the way it happens. And then in the 5 to 6 at Plumpton, that was another no betting race. And that was the last one there. So a lot of these meetings sort of levelled out. And now we're going to one that didn't level out. This is mostly the one that cost me over the day, really. First race at Chepstow, 235, Magical Escape. We had our money on the odds-on pot. All right, it came second, but at odds like that, they should be winning. Then into the second race. Now we've got a 4-horse race again. The favourite does win it, but I've got it in second. And the outsider is my top selection, which run really, really well, just couldn't hold on from the favourite. And I didn't quite get full money back, but at least I got a return that was better than what I staked. Then into the 3:45, we had another shorty get turned over, unseated rider. Would it have won? Who knows? And Phantom of the Points, my second in. This came through, but again, it was second favourite. And then into the 4:18, Prince Quali won it. Yes, it was favourite. It was my fourth selection, and again, it was another one of those ones where you don't have enough money on them. Then into the 4:55, you got it again. We got the winner here, Il Va de Soy. And where is it? The fourth selection again. And this one gets my money back. So you can just see how it could have been, how that every time I'm running out of money on there, is that last selection that wins. It can't be one of the full ones. And there it is. This is the 3-horse race that this guy moaned about. Yeah, all right. If you look at the odds, right, and he says, oh, you can't even get a winner in a 3-horse race. You've got to remember, the second one up there is an odds-on favourite. The one I backed at the top is second favourite, and this one is 6.32. So it's the outsider of 3 and telling me that I should have that winner. So we know in reality the reason for the prices being what they are is because more people make them prices go shorter because there's more people betting on them. Well, there we go. I suppose it did needle me a little bit that earlier on. And then into the last race there at Chepstow, 6 o'clock was a no betting race, and that was it. So Chepstow wasn't great, I'll be honest. Plumpton, I think I'd lost one race overall. Fakenham was my money back. Huntington was the only profit of the day. Wolverhampton wasn't great, lost about 100 quid there. Thank God Redcar weren't on. Although I've done well at Redcar before, so I suppose I shouldn't be slagging that off. Kempton was sort of around the money back. Fairyhouse was a loss, but with the one race at Cork, those 2 Irish meetings are still worth doing. So that was the 8 meetings today. So nothing exciting to write home about there. And tomorrow we're back to normal. Nice easy day, 3 cards. And after this video I'll give the tips out there. And tomorrow I will be able to do the exchange after 9 o'clock in the morning. It was just, even if you do 3 meetings, that would still take me about an hour and a half. But this morning, before I knew Redcar was off, there was 9, and that's like 4.5 hours. And by the time I'd have done that, the first race was in 3 hours. So I couldn't do what I had to do, bet and everything else, and still be doing the videos for that today. I had to give that a miss. But I'm going to be able to do that after I've done this video, which is also late because of getting all the form and the results together with the 8 meetings that were today. But no, I don't think a lot of people understand that it takes time to do all this. That's why I can't get everything done straight away. But 3 meetings a day is handfuls. It's enough to be getting on with. So that's about it. I'm sorry I've moaned my way through, but some people do needle me now and again. And that's about it for tonight. So keep subscribing to the channel. And we'll hope that we can get back in the winning groove tomorrow. There's some nice races there tomorrow, nice field sizes. And as I say, I'll be doing that video straight away after I finish this. So thanks for everybody that watches, and sleep well, and we'll catch up tomorrow.